not really sure how long it's been since I actually filmed. Maybe like a week or something. Obviously for you guys it's probably all part of the same episode. But basically I thought it was going to be pretty boring time-lapse because it was just like a case of me sanding, fill in the same bits and just doing it over and over again, trying to get it to the point that I was happy with it. And I don't mean like putting loads and loads of filler in it. I mean putting filler in it, sanding most of it away, putting more in, sanding most of it away, and so on. So just an experience. And yeah, so I'm pretty scunnered with it, to be honest, with sanding and filling now. It's probably been, so it ended up being a couple of weeks of cutting and welding. That's probably 2 or 3 weeks of prep. Way more than I expected to do on this car. But that's the nature of the beast. It's 30 years old, so I'm really looking forward to just getting some tiny little bits finished today, and just running over it with the air hose and degreasing it, just making sure there's no other wee marks that I need to put a little bit of filler on, and then it'll be Operation Clean the Garage, which is an absolute bomb site, and then paint it finally. So this will be the reward for all the hard work, because as soon as the base starts going down on it, you know, obviously it just transforms the car. You know, it's covered in, well, it's multiple different colors just now because some bits are primed. There's some different color primers, there's bits that are sanded to different grades, there's all sorts. I've just remembered that I do need to fill a little bit on the roof where the aerial was. So yeah, anyway, I'll let you have a look at how it's going just now, how it's looking just now, and the next video is gonna be me just probably just painting it, I would think, because I just think if I time lapse the amount of time that I've spent on prep, it would have been pretty boring even for time lapse. So, and there's no point in time lapsing cleaning the garage, and there's just like a couple of little bits left to do, hence why I'm now feeling that I can spend a little bit of time making a video. So right, have a look and see what you think. So yeah, so those are the back bits that I'd done. So they're primed from the rear arch there all the way down the sill. So it has come out pretty good. I mean, obviously there's a few replacement bits of metal in there, and I'm being like overly fussy because you can't see these bits once the body kit's on. I noticed that there was a little bit of corrosion on that side of the windscreen as well. It was nowhere near as bad as the other side, it was still totally solid. So, excuse me, what I did was basically just sanded it down and put rust treatment on it, and then that's just some stopper that I've put on there just to kind of even out the you know, the difference between the paint, basically the area that's been sanded back to steel. And yeah, it's absolute bomb site in here. The area that's been sanded back to steel and the layers of paint. So yeah, again, just a kind of couple of tiny bits there. That's the bit that we welded the repair section into. It's not like super flat or highly finished, but there's not really much point because that's literally where the window seal is. So I'm not wasting time on that. It's absolutely solid, and it's gonna take the seals, he says. And that's the bit up at the top, which was a bit more serious, not too bad. So that's been filled, sanded, primed, and this obviously had the bigger section replaced, and Another arch there, and this little bit up here as well. And just need to give that another quick sand. You can still just about see where I've put a little bit of stopper just to kind of aid getting the shape. But that's okay, that won't take long. And the other bit at the back around the toe eye. So lots of work, lots of frustration. Yeah, lots of work, lots of frustration, but that's just the crack when you're doing things that you haven't done before. I mean, I've done very, very little filling and sanding of filler. I've done quite a lot of sanding because obviously once you paint a car you need to sand it and polish it. So, and even just when you're detailing cars, sometimes you need to sand them. So I've done quite a lot of that, but obviously filling and sanding is another whole element. So yeah, so I think I've kind of learned how to be a bit better at it the hard way, and I think it'll all look good. It's just taken a lot longer than it would take somebody who is more experienced at it. So definitely gonna arrange to spend, I've already messaged them actually, but arrange to spend maybe a day or two down at the body shop just actually watching and maybe having a go, so that it doesn't take me as long in the next car, because that was quite a lot of time to consume. But anyway, I'll stop waffling. I'm gonna just do these last little bits and probably have an earlier finish tonight. It's sunny outside for once, so and then I guess tomorrow clean the garage, and so tomorrow's Sunday, so basically painting Monday. So I thought I was going to be painting about 2 Mondays ago, but never mind. That'll be great just to get started. Alright, next time I see you, we'll be painting. Well, hello. It's probably about a week later, I think. I think it's probably been maybe about 4 days or something that I thought definitely going to get painted today, and it hasn't happened. Just like if you're going around rubbing the car down or using panel wipe off on it to get it clean, thinking you're about to start painting it, and then you're like, oh yeah, maybe I could just put a tiny little bit of stopper on that and just give that a tiny little sand, and you just keep on noticing things, and then before you know it, another week's gone by, well, with me anyway. So, but finally, I don't even know when I started doing the body work on this, but I'll need to look back through the videos, but it's got to be at least a month. Finally, I'm ready to paint, and I spent like probably more than a day doing a deep clean of the garage and everything, and then obviously I've just kind of cleaned it again today, or cleaned the floor again today, so it's as clean as I can get it. Unfortunately, there's a fly buzzing around just now, so I'm just waiting for it to fly into the whatever it's called, the fly zapper thing, because that's not really what I want when I'm painting a car. So what do I need to do? I'm gonna cable tie a couple of bits onto the wall, sort of. I'll show you. And I'm gonna just quickly go over, like walk around it again with some 1000 grit and just make sure there's nothing that is I've forgotten to rub down after putting, you know, some stopper on it or something like that. It's really warm today, which is good. It's over 20 degrees in the garage with no heaters on. So I'm not going to put any heaters on, but I will after I finish painting, and should be able to get it up to a pretty decent temperature, which will probably mean that I can start sanding it tomorrow. So that's good. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna let you see where it is, otherwise I'll just keep waffling. So yeah, I'll let you have a look around, and you can admire how tidy the garage is as well, which won't be like that for long. By the time I've finished painting it, everything will be covered in paint dust and lacquer dust, but That's just part of the process. So yeah, have a look and see what you think, and then I'll stick it on time lapse, and so you can see the whole painting of the car as well, and hopefully it turns out well because there's so much work gone into this. Just be really good to get a decent result. So all right, have a look and see. So it's all masked up. Just spotting somewhere I need to put a little bit of primer on. Yeah, it's all masked up. I don't normally use the brown paper. Normally I use the big roll of plastic that you kind of put over the whole car, because obviously you're not always painting the whole thing, and then you can just cut out what you need. I don't think I would use the brown paper again because it took me way longer than it would have taken with the plastic, but you live and learn. I'm sure people that are professionals at this can use the paper and do it in no time at all, but for me anyway, I think I'll stick to using the plastic. I obviously had to come up with a way of painting the bumper, somewhere to put them, so this is what I've come up with, which is not ideal, but yeah, I'm painting it in a home garage, so you can't always do ideal. That little bit off the boot, it's all prepped, and what I'm gonna do with that is just use either some cable tie or some wire or something, just to kind of hang it from that hook in front of that brown paper, because that should do the job. I'll need to try and hang it quite low so I don't get blue paint all over the wall, but it's not the end of the world if I get some on it, because whenever I'm leaving I can wipe down the walls with some thinners. So yeah, it's all prepped up, and hopefully, you know, all the effort that I've put into it will mean that we get a pretty good finish. You know, it's never going to be perfect. As I think I said before, you see lots of jobs coming out of body shops with booths and ovens and stuff that are quite far from perfect. So if I can get a really good result here, then that's brilliant. And there's no question, given what you saw before, that it's going to be way better than it was, because it had big rust holes and things in it. So so yeah, I mean, whatever happens, it's going to be, you know, a million times better than it was, and it's really going to bring the car back to, you know, the kind of condition that was in, you know, maybe like a few years after it was built, I guess. Certainly the kind of condition it was in the early 90s anyway. Yeah, so that's the front bumper. That's the little coloured bit that goes in the grille. You know, I'm planning on just trying to paint that where it is, which is going to be difficult, but I might see if I can hang it up over on the other side. But anyway, appreciate the really tidy, clean garage. I literally took everything off the shelves and cleaned everything, and cleaned the shelves and the walls, and basically just really cleaned everything, just to try and give us the best chance possible of getting a good result. So yeah, I think that's all just now really. I've emptied the water out of the compressor, I've emptied the water out of the traps there on the airline. Not got full pressure there, but we've got plenty because we're only going to be spraying at 2 bar. So I was messing about with the air levels because I was trying to use some of these new tools that I bought. There's like a finger sander and various other things, and they need to operate at 90 psi, but they weren't working even at that. So I'm not sure whether I've got some duds or whether I'm doing something wrong, but I'll need to figure that out at some point when I don't have something more pressing to do. Okay, I'll stop waffling, and that fly hasn't died yet, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm gonna just go around it, quick 1000 grit just on any bits that, you know, I've primered, and or, you know, a bit of stopper on it or whatever, just make sure there's nothing that's too rough, nothing that I've forgotten to sand. Then obviously go around it all with degreaser. To shove this paper down a bit. I've got bottles of water there so I can wet the floor. Obviously that's a good idea if you're painting in anywhere other than the booth, really, because it stops it's less chance of rubbish coming up off the floor and ending up in your paint, because obviously there's quite a lot of air pressure coming out of the gun. So I've also got a second oil trap that I put on the gun, just to try and again give us the best chance. And these are the spray guns that I use, GTI Pro Lights, which you'll find in a lot of body shops. They're quite popular guns, so again that hopefully gives us a good chance of getting a good result. And I've got 2 litres of paint, so that should be more than enough. Alright, I'll stop waffling. Hopefully I didn't already say that. And yep, just panel wipe it. Yeah, I was going to say a tack cloth as well. That's the other thing that I'll do before I actually start laying down the base coat. Just use some tack cloth just to make sure there's no debris left. It's actually quite amazing how much debris is still left on the paint after you've wiped it down with panel wipe. So it's definitely, in my opinion, worth using tack cloth. Definitely worth the extra bit of money, particularly if you're painting the whole car. Alright, so gonna go on a time lapse, and here goes nothing. Hi, well, it's the next morning. I was up till pretty late painting, and overall it went pretty good, but I've never seen so many flies and moths and everything in the garage in my life. It was quite warm last night, and obviously it was getting dark out. Well, it was dark outside laterally, so I think they were obviously just seeing the light and flying in. I do have like a fly zapper thing, but I probably could have done with about 8 of them last night. So yeah, I was having major problems with flies landing on the paint, which is not really good. So I decided that I wasn't gonna do the clear coat last night, because it's not as big a problem if you get a fly landing on the base, because you can just kind of pick them off and sand it out and then just shoot some base over it. So, but if they get in the clear coat, that's a bigger problem, because you know, it's a lot more difficult to kind of save it. So what I've done as well is I've taken there's like a louvre vent on the outside wall that the fan's on, but you need to have the door open a little bit to stop it like rattling. So what I've done is just basically taken that off the wall so that I can try having the door completely shut, because I really can't have that many flies in here when I'm trying to paint. Also, I managed to, I'm not sure whether it was me that hit off the door or whether I hit the airline off the door, but I managed to make a big mark in the paint as well, which I managed to save. So but all in all, it went pretty well, so that's good. I'll have a look around it just now at how it's looking, and then I'm basically just gonna crack on. I'm gonna remove any other flies that have landed and give the paint a sand. I went and got another litre of base, so I ran out of paint last night as well. So so yeah, the next time I'll get 3 litres. You should probably be able to get away with 2 if you know it's not like a bare metal sort of respray or anything, so you're kind of painting mainly over colour. But usually I go for getting more than I think I'll need, which saves trips back to get more paint. So the next one I'm going to get 3 litres, just to be on the safe side. Okay, so have a look around it and then we'll get cracked on with just giving the car another full coat of base. A litre will be enough to go over the car again, I think. Yeah, I did the bonnet, the roof, and I think maybe a side and a bumper. Yeah, that's going to be enough to go over it all again. So that's just what I'm going to do, and I just really need to hope that I don't have any mishaps. Otherwise I'll be going to go and get more paint. So but yeah, hopefully we can just lay that down and then just crack on with the clear coat, and see how we go on. Okay, have a look and see. Yeah, so it's gone pretty well. The paint's looking fine. So bumper on the eyebrow there. So yeah, I'm really happy with, you know, overall, like I say, the way it's gone down. And when I painted the first car, I had some mishaps, so luckily I know how to save them. Oh yeah, the other thing that happened was I was firing thinners out of the lacquer gun just to clean it through. I always do that before and after I use them. And then a couple of big drops of thinners landed on this bumper. I don't normally have something sitting here where I'm painting, so it's never been a problem before. So yeah, you know, I knew I needed to get more base to do that. So you're supposed to kind of do the clear coat right after you've finished the base. Reading around online, some people say that you can leave it till the next day. I don't know whether you can or not. I think it depends on the base and everything like that. So possibly the lacquer as well. And I didn't really want to risk it. I mean, going to all that effort and then basically you go to lacquer it and it just doesn't work. There's a fly right there. So I'll stop there because I want to get this done. It's nice and warm again today. It's like 24 degrees in the garage with no heat on, so that's really good. So fingers crossed, I can get this finished painting it today, and then tomorrow I'm sure I'll be able to get on with sanding it. I'll heat up the garage even more once I've finished and kind of bake it a little bit, and that should mean that we're definitely good to start wet sanding tomorrow.